Juice Hancock. How's it going, man? How's camp in Tulsa going so far?
It's good. It's hot, man. It's real hot. It's humid, so I like that factor about it a lot.
Yeah. So, room's a little crowded. It's a little hot. It's a little slippery. I mean, what do you do as the best guy in the country, best guy in the world? What do you focus on? How do you keep yourself mentally focused on practice and on doing the right things?
I think the biggest thing was what Coach Medlin said the other day was just being grateful. Because like the situation we're in, we got this COVID-19, and no one's on the mat really, but just kind of, and the whole country was just, I feel like just this state, just us right now. Because when I saw it back home in Colorado, I saw it on Flow, and I was so jealous. I was like, where's my invite? And so I'm reaching out and stuff, and I made it out here, and I'm just grateful to be on this mat, man. It's I love the sport, so every time I get a chance to be on the mat, it's an honor.
Yeah, being on the brink of Olympics, being a young kid last quad, and now being the guy this quad, and qualifying the weight and having all that momentum, and then COVID hits. How did you feel about that? Like, what was that like for you?
At first, of course, I had the doubts in my mind. I was upset. I was like, man, everything was going right. I had a really hot fire year, you call it. But I looked up and I was thinking, and I was thinking that I'm only going to get better. I'm 22 years old, and I feel like, God willing, I have a lot more coming my way. I have a lot more strength to acquire, a lot more technique to acquire, skills, all these things that I'm still getting exposed to, still trying to soak in. And I'm grateful for a chance to gear up for another year for one event. It's different when you have a whole year and you don't know where you're going. You're just trying to plan straight. I just want to get better, get stronger, get faster, get this. And it's like, I thank God that I have the clarity right now to look forward. And I say I have Olympic trials and I have the Olympic Games, and that's the mindset.
Do you feel like things have changed for you since the TC days, being a teenager, to now? You got all this experience, all this knowledge. Do you feel like you're a leader? Do you feel like you have more responsibility, less responsibility, or no? Kind of like, oh man, I know the way now. Is it kind of different for you?
It's definitely different. I feel like the only thing that has truly changed over the years is that I'm learning more so what works for me. And TC was, he's a monster. I love that dude so much. And he always made me have fun with the sport. When we love the sport. So that's the thing that I come here act like a kid, act like a fool, jumping around, having fun with it. So that all stays. The only thing I can say that has changed for sure is I'm starting to learn myself. Knowing myself more, and that's something I really value that also.
Yeah. So. Me and you are both guys that love being overseas. Like, some guys complain, like, we would prefer to be there all the time if we could,
yeah.
Right? So, like, how does that change things? Places are locked down. We can't go train overseas. What are you thinking with your plan and with like what you got to focus on, and maybe remembering some of those things you learned from overseas?
Definitely. Yeah, like you said, that's huge, man. Like, especially for us, what I'm saying? Like, I think a huge, part of my training is getting better overseas. I'm a huge advocate for that. So it's been different, and it's very hard. But at the same time, we've been over there so many times. I'm trying my hardest now to, run back, jog my memories, and I'm remembering, the dumbbell, the pull-up bars workout we had in Norway. I'm trying to remember these Bulgarian bag workouts we had in Azerbaijan, and so I kind of. The hardest things always stick with you. The hardest workouts always are ingrained in your heads, and so those are the ones I'm trying to put myself through here when I'm back home, when I don't have the ability to get yelled by a coach, divide.
Yeah.
And so so I'm just trying to instill that in my head without I guess painting a picture.
Do you think that, like, sometimes I feel like this happens to me where I go overseas so much that it's always just the next trip, and I'm not taking those lessons and bringing them home.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I gotta get back there. And you feel like you kind of get spoiled and you don't think about like digesting all that stuff sometimes, because I feel like I'm always in a rush just to get back there. And of course, the top training partner is going to be there. But like, actually what you're learning, do you feel like maybe kind of thinking more in this time, you can kind of soak up and digest some of the stuff that we learned?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I talked about this with Marcus the other day, is that, you go over there and you want to be over there for a long time, because when you're over there for a longer period of time, you have the ability to soak in this information. You practice, that Bruce Lee quote, you don't feel the man who practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the one who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. And, that's the same mental mindset, is that when you're over there overseas for so long, you kind of, you start to actually wrestle like a foreigner. You start to learn that technique. And so, yeah, I was definitely spoiled, and coming back and having to stay home and not be able to just constantly be exposed to the European style and these Scandinavian styles, and so it's definitely taking a toll. But we've been there so much. I think bringing some of that home, I have to remember those.
Yeah. You don't have to comment on this, but I know you're a little bit outspoken about this. Do you feel like, has it been harder being a black athlete in America, and with everything that's going on right now? Do you have anything you want to say about that? You don't have to, but
for sure. I thank God. I thank my family that I've been given the talent I have, the leaders in my life, the coaches that I've had in my life. So, if anything, I can say my blackness has only allowed me to go beyond and above anything I've ever seen or anything a lot of people have, and I'm grateful for it. I have much black pride, and I stand by all this protesting, all this the peaceful protesting. I stand by all of this, and I'm with it. And no, I don't believe being a black athlete has anything more difficult, but only things more easy in my life. There are other things going on in the outside, but I think that's much bigger than wrestling. That's its own entire thing, and that if it came down to wrestling or racism, it came down to what I'd have to deal with. Of course, I'd attack racism way before the Olympic Games, because that's far bigger than anything any of us are doing.
Have you had to deal with it a lot, training internationally, training nationally, or is it more stories of the?
Funny as it may sound, I've been blessed enough to experience less racism overseas. I go overseas, my friends, they're extremely diverse. That's kind of what I confide in, as friends like that. So no, I'm not too exposed to those things, but I also know how to pick a crowd.
Yeah. What about guys like TC, or even older guys? We're around guys like Ike. We're around guys that maybe have seen some stuff in our wrestling world, and even in our own country. We talk to some of the older athletes. Do you kind of get a lot of inspiration from them? A lot of kind of feelings from that?
As me and TC are extremely close. Me and Herb House are extremely close. Me and Ike Anderson's extremely close. We have conversations, very often, extremely often. I just got off a phone call with him, literally probably about 5 minutes ago. With Coach Herb House.
Oh, okay.
But these guys are my inner circle, and trust me, we speak very often and intelligently, and we speak politically as well. We're talking about plans. We talk about these things that's going on around us, and we encourage each other. And I'm grateful to have that. But they've definitely told me of stories as well. But it's life, and we're kind of attacking it the correct way. That's what I think is most important.
Yeah, man. But your wrestling speaks louder than words.
Exactly.
And
wrestling brings together sport. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah. So you got anything else to say?
Nah, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.